Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on Insights Unfaithful. We're grateful for every single one of you. Tell us, where in the world are you watching from? Drop it in the comments below. Now let's get into today's story. The aircraft landed in Virginia Beach a little after midnight. No fanfare, no familiar faces, just the sting of cold wind sweeping across the empty tarmac. Navy SEAL Travis Cole descended the steps in silence, boots striking the ground with the weight of war. 8 months overseas had carved something hollow in him. With his duffel slung over one shoulder and eyes scanning the shadowed parking lot, he moved like someone still caught between two worlds. He'd watched cities crumble, felt the heat of endless sand, but nothing felt as foreign as home. He had kicked down doors and places that did not exist on maps. But this silence, it scraped his nerves raw. Miranda was not there, not even a text. He booked a ride share without flinching. The driver made small talk about football. Travis gave one word, answers, and stared out the window. His hand rested on the handle of his bag, the same hand that had gripped rifles and pulled friends out of rubble. Tonight it just sat still, coiled. His house was still standing. The lights were off. The lawn was trimmed too, trimmed. She had not done that before. The garage opened slowly like it did not want him to see what was inside. Her car was there, no sign of life. He entered through the side door and dropped his bag quietly by the stairs. Miranda called. Her voice came from upstairs, groggy, irritated. "What time is it?" He paused. "Midnight." A long silence, then footsteps. She came down in a silk robe, makeup smudged, phone still in her hand. "You did not tell me when you were landing. You knew the week." "I have work in the morning, Travis." His eyes flicked to the phone in her hand. The screen dimmed quickly. She walked up and hugged him stiff like she was hugging a guest. "Glad you were home." Travis said nothing. Her perfume was different. Expensive, not what she wore before. Something was wrong. Not battlefield wrong, domestic wrong. That subtle, quiet kind of betrayal that did not bleed but still killed something inside you. He looked at her, really looked. She had changed, and not for him. How do you fight an enemy who lives in your own home? Wait, if this story gave you chills or made you think twice about trust, don't just scroll away. Hit that like button to support the channel and subscribe if you never want to miss another jaw-dropping tale. We drop new stories every week that'll leave you speechless. Join the family because here, every story hits different. Now let's dive back into the story. The next morning, sunlight crept through the blinds like a spotlight on a stage neither of them wanted to be on. Travis stood in the kitchen, brewing coffee. He knew how to clean a rifle in the dark. Making coffee used to be harder. Miranda walked in freshly dressed, hair curled, eyes lined. Not for him. "You're up early," she said, checking her phone again. "I have been up since 4 hours, jet lag." She nodded, pretending to listen. Her fingers moved fast, typing something, smiling at the screen. Then she caught herself and stopped smiling. "I'm showing a house in 30 minutes. You will be all right." Travis looked at her over the rim of his mug. "I survived Kandahar. I think I can handle breakfast." She laughed, but it was empty like someone pressed play on an old recording. Then she kissed his cheek barely and left. The door clicked shut. Travis stood still. He did not just notice details, he absorbed them. The missing wedding photo from the mantle. The cologne scent in the upstairs bathroom, that was not his. The way she'd flinched when he looked at her too long. His phone buzzed, a message from a former teammate. "Welcome home, brother. We are getting drinks Friday." He typed back, "Might need more than drinks." Later, he checked the hallway camera. The one Miranda did not know was still active. She had disabled the front one, forgot about the side hall. At 10:13 p.m, a man's silhouette slipped through the gate 2 nights before he landed. Tall, confident, not a stranger. Travis zoomed in frame by frame, paused on the tattoo. He remembered that tattoo. It was on Brenner Maddox, a man who once shook his hand at a charity event. Influencer, family man, fraud. Travis leaned back in his chair, jaw locked. He did not confront. Not yet. SEALs do not rush. They watch. They wait. They finish what others are too scared to start. He had been trained to dismantle terrorists. What was coming next would be personal. Travis lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling fan spinning above. Miranda beside him, already asleep or pretending. Her breathing was shallow, nervous. Her back faced him. They had not touched since he got back. Not really. He remembered when this room felt safe. when coming home meant peace. Now the silence between them was a scream neither of them wanted to translate. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand twice. She didn't move, Travis did. He leaned up slowly, careful not to creak the mattress. Reached over, glanced at the screen. 2 messages. Burner Maddox can't sleep. Thinking about you. You look perfect today. Travis sat back, heartbeat steady. Not even anger yet, just clarity. He stood, walked quietly to the guest room and closed the door. In the dark, he pulled out his old gear case. Not weapons. Not this time. A USB drive, a laptop, his backup burner phone, old tools, new mission. He opened a folder. Op Truth. Started typing notes, timestamps, names, a timeline. He opened another folder, scans of her documents, her realtor accounts, things she never knew he saw. It was not just the affair. It was telly of their life. Travis stared at the wall. A photo of their wedding day smiled back at him. Her eyes looked happy, back then. But now her eyes blinked too fast when she lied. Her fingers twitched when she thought she was being watched. And soon she would be. Every second, every step, every lie she told, he would make sure it led to the truth. And when the time came, she would not just lose him. She would lose everything. 3 days passed. Miranda had grown relaxed again, careless even. She smiled more, laughed on calls behind closed doors, and left her phone unattended for longer. That was her mistake. Tuesday morning. She was rushing late for a closing meeting she claimed could make or break her month. She grabbed her coat, keys and purse, but dropped her phone face down on the tile by the front door. "Shit," she muttered. Travis was already behind her. "You all right?" "Yeah," she said quickly. She reached down, but he was faster. He handed her the phone. The screen had not locked. A message preview was still open. Bold white on light gray. "Brenner Maddox, send that pic from last night. I can't stop thinking about you." Her smile froze. Her fingers gripped the phone like she wanted to crush it. It's work humor. He looked at her steady, of course. She walked out without saying goodbye. Travis did not move until the door closed. Then he turned, walked into the kitchen, and opened the laptop. He reviewed the last GPS pings from her car. Every location lined up with hotel stops, not office buildings. The conferences she claimed to attend on weekends, all fake. He pulled up the hotel security feed he hacked 2 nights earlier. Miranda Brenner together at the rooftop bar. She was smiling in a way he had not seen in years. She touched Brenner's chest casually like she had done it 100 times. Travis paused the screen, zoomed in. The necklace she wore, the one Travis bought, her on their anniversary, hung between them like a joke. He closed the laptop, stood quietly, and stared out the window. His jaw tightened. There would be no confrontation. Not yet. What it was building was not just revenge. It was a blueprint. And she had no idea she was laying the bricks herself. He had given her space to lie. Now he was building the trap with her words. Travis waited until she was asleep. By midnight, she was curled on her side, breathing soft, oblivious. Her phone rested under the pillow, but he was not after that anymore. He was after the trail she did not know she was leaving behind. He walked quietly to the garage. In the drawer under the tool bench, sealed. In black foam was a slim GPS-style, military-era, untraceable battery good for 4 months. The kind of gear civilians never saw. He slid it into the lining of her car's trunk the next morning while she was inside grabbing coffee. It took 6 seconds. By afternoon, he had a live feed on his screen. Her car moved at 10:32 a.m. Not toward the office, but westbound toward the coast. Travis watched the red dot slow near a boutique hotel. He checked the room registry. No name listed, just a cash payment. But there was security footage. Miranda, Brenner. They were not hiding anymore, at least not from each other. She wore sunglasses, hair tied, laughing. He had his hand on her lower back. Travis sat back in his chair. The room was silent except for the hum of the monitor. He knew this face. Overconfidence. Affairs had stages. This was the part where liars thought they were clever. That was always their undoing. Travis uploaded the footage to a private vault, created folders labeled each by date and location. This was not about jealousy. It was not about rage. It was about exposure, controlled, complete, public. He did not need to shout to win. He just had to wait for the perfect moment to whisper and let the whole world hear it. The first kill in any mission is made with silence. Friday night, Miranda packed her suitcase in a rush. Red heels, black dress, 2 changes of lingerie. She barely noticed Travis standing in the doorway. "You heading out?" he asked casually. "Yeah, real estate retreat in Richmond. I told you, remember?" "You did?" She zipped the bag. "I will be back Sunday night." He nodded. "You need anything?" Her eyes flicked toward him, cautious. "No, I am good." She kissed his cheek barely and left before he could speak again. Travis waited until hotel lights vanished, then grabbed his keys. 2 hours later, he sat 3 cars back in a rain-slick parking lot outside a boutique beachside hotel, not in Richmond. Her GPS said it all. Miranda walked inside with Bryna, arm in arm. Travis watched through the windshield, rain ticking like static. On the roof. Inside, they checked in at the counter. Brenner whispered something in her ear that made her laugh and bite her lip like they were teenagers, like Travis never existed. He recorded everything. Minutes later, the lights flicked on in room 214. Curtains opened. For a moment, they were silhouetted in the window. Bryner unbuttoning his shirt, Miranda undressing. Travis looked away, not from pain, but from purpose. He had what he came for. He pulled out a small hard drive, saved the video, backed it up twice. Evidence, not just of betrayal, but of pattern, of hypocrisy. Brenner was no longer just a homewrecker. He was a public figure, a husband, a fraud. Travis started the engine and drove off into the night. Windshield wipers clicked like a metronome, each beat counting down to what was coming next. And when it hit, it would not be private. The weekend getaway was her escape. She had no idea it would become the scene of her undoing. The next morning, the sun cut through the hotel window like a blade. Miranda and Bryner emerged from the lobby, holding hands, sunglasses on, fake smiles fixed. The same kind of smiles Travis had once believed in. He watched them from across the street, parked in an old pickup he borrowed from a friend. Nothing traced back to him. The windshield was dirty. The world felt quiet. Bryner lit a cigarette. Travis noticed the way he leaned into her, not like a man in love, but like one claiming territory. She laughed, loud, free, the kind of laugh she had not shared with Travis in years. A man walked by and did a double take. Brenner flinched and pulled. Miranda closer. She turned her face slightly, not fear calculation. They were hiding in plain sight. Travis snapped a few photos, high resolution, time-stamped, filed. Then he opened his burner phone and searched Brenner Maddox's public appearances. He scrolled through thumbnails, charity galas, school events, podcasts about marriage and morality. His face was everywhere. A role model, a motivator, aliyah. Travis clicked a video Brenner on stage in a church, hands raised. Family's everything. Loyalty is sacred. Marriage is a covenant. Travis muted it and stared at the freeze frame. It made him sick, not with rage, with clarity. Brenner was not just a man sleeping with someone else's wife. He was a brand built on deception, and Travis knew how to take apart structures like that. Quietly, brick by brick, he watched the couple get into a black SUV. Miranda lowered again as they drove off. Travis did not follow this time. He already knew where they were going. He had everything he needed. Now it was time to plan how to end them. He was not chasing anymore. He was setting the trap, and they were walking straight into it. Back home, the house felt colder. Miranda turned Sunday night like nothing happened, as if she had just gone to brunch with friends. She tossed her suitcase on the floor, kicked off her heels, and let out a dramatic sigh. "God, I am exhausted," she said, stretching. Travis looked up from the couch. The TV was on, muted. A war documentary played in the background, soldiers moving through smoke. "How is Richmond?" hesked. She paused, then smiled. "Busy, productive. We had back-to-back panels." He nodded slowly. "You learn anything new?" She laughed. "You were funny. I'm going to shower." She walked past him, that same perfume lingering in the air. No, not hers, not his. As soon as the water started running upstairs, Travis stood and opened his laptop. He played the footage. Hotel lobby. Timestamp. Saturday, 3:16 p.m. Miranda Brenner laughing, holding hands. Hotel rooftop bar. Kissing, drinking, whispering. Room 214. Lights on. Curtains half drawn. Travis muted the video. He did not need to hear it. The images said enough. He clicked save, encrypted the file, and backed it up to 3 separate drives. One stayed in the safe, another in a hidden box in the attic. The third scheduled to upload to a private cloud server if he failed to cancel the trigger every 48 hours. Insurance. He watched the screen go black, then looked up the next phase. Social media traces. Brenner's face was on everything. book deals, family manors, endorsements, corporate sponsors. Perfect. Travis smiled, but it was small and dark. He opened a fresh folder, named it Phase 2, Exposure. There would be no confrontation, no shouting match. He was not looking for closure. He was building a public execution, and it would happen on their stage. What started as betrayal was about to become a broadcast. 2 weeks later, Miranda stood in the kitchen scrolling through her phone. Travis stood across from her, sipping coffee, calm, focused, measured the way he was before breaching a door. "You've been quiet lately," she said, not looking up, thinking. He replied, "About what?" He watched her carefully. "About us." She blinked fast. That was her tell. "Oh," she said that again. He placed his mug down. "Look, if this is not what you want anymore, just say it." Her fingers froze mid-scroll. He continued, voice even. "I have not stopped you. I have not checked your phone. I have not followed you. If you're unhappy, you're free to go." She turned her head, a fake laugh catching in her throat. "What are you saying?" "I am saying I will not stand in your way. Not anymore." She stared at him. He stared back. Long silence. Then she said it quiet but sharp. "Maybe I should go." He nodded. "Maybe you should." She blinked again. Twice. Then smiled small and sure. "Wow. Okay, no drama." He said, "Just be honest." "I have been honest," she said quickly. Travis held her gaze, said nothing. That silence crushed her words. She grabbed her purse and keys. "I will be a Janice tonight." He nodded again. She left. Door closed. Travis walked to the window and watched her drive away. He whispered to no one, "You are free." Then he turned back toward the laptop, opened the folder labeled Phase 2 and hit enter. Now the operation truly began. No more guessing, no more waiting. This was not about saving the marriage. This was about controlling the truth and letting her destroy herself with it. She thought freedom meant escape. She had no idea it came with a price. 2 weeks later, the invitation arrived in a sleek white envelope. Coastal Business Awards honoring Miranda Cole, Realtor of the Year. Black tie local media sponsors attending. Travis read the card slowly, then laid it on the table. So this was it, her moment. The image she had carefully built, the life she had crafted. From polished lies, curated smiles, and edited truths. And now she was about to be celebrated for it. He opened his laptop folder. Phase 2 Exposure. Inside were videos, voice recordings, screenshots of messages, real-time GPS logs, Brenner's face, and hotel mirrors. Miranda's voice, whispering promises to a man who was not a husband. He had the truth, and the stage was now being handed to him. He called her. Xander, his old SEAL contact turned cybersecurity consultant. They had served in Yemen, trusted each other with their lives. "You ready?" Travis asked. "Say the word. I need a full switch." Video override. Awards night. Feed goes live across every screen. Xander chuckled. "You sure?" "Dead sure." "Good. Because what you sent me, that man is a walking hypocrisy. The world deserves to see it." Travis paused. "Not just him. Your wife too." Travis's jaw tightened. Especially her. The plan was simple. Miranda's acceptance speech would begin. The screens behind Hermione to show her achievements and testimonials would glitch, then switch video proof, audio logs, infidelity, lies, all of it live. Travis would not need to say a word. He would let the evidence do the speaking. Let karma do the cutting. He looked at the invitation again. Miranda had no idea her spotlight was about to burn her alive. The night before the awards, Miranda was calm. Too calm. She was in front of the mirror, slipping into a satin dress. Her makeup was perfect. Her hair curled, her necklace polished. The same one Travis bought her years ago. He stood in the doorway. "You look like someone who got everything she wanted," he said. She glanced at him through the mirror. "Earned it." He nodded. "Sure you did." She turned. "Travis, I know things have been distant, but this event is important. Try not to be bitter. Tonight, bitter. Just let me have this without attitude." He gave a smile that never reached his eyes. "No attitude. I will bet her right up front." She gave him a quick, uncertain look. "Really?" "Of course. Would not miss your big moment." Later that night, Travis met Xander in a parking garage near the venue. The tech van was ready. Equipment wired. One signal, one button, and the live feed would change. You sure you want this public? Xander asked, fingers on the keyboard. Miranda and Bryna built this mask in public. They do not get to fall in private. Xander nodded. All right then. Showtime. Inside the venue, people gathered. City officials, media teams, local business heads. Miranda glowed under lights, posing for cameras, laughing with councilwomen. Renner stood in the back, hat low, coat pressed. He should not have been there, but he was addicted to watching her shine. He believed he was untouchable. Travis entered, quiet and unnoticed. He found his seat. Front row camera crew started rolling. The host took the stage. This year's award for Realtor of the Year goes to Miranda Cole. Applause. Miranda walked to the stage, heels clicking, eyes glowing. Travis folded his hands, calm, patient. The screen behind her flickered once, then again. Time slowed. Xander's finger hovered over the trigger. Then he pressed it. The crowd clapped as Miranda stepped up to Simic. She smiled wide, blinking under the bright lights. Thank you all. I am truly honored to be recognized. The screen behind her twitched again, then cut. The video feed flipped to black. People murmured. Then the first image appeared. A hotel hallway. Miranda entering room 214 with Brenna. Time stamped. Clear. Gasps. Miranda froze. What? The screen shifted again. Text messages appeared, sliding in one by one. Brenner Maddox. I wish I could fall asleep beside you every night. He does not deserve you. Miranda Cole. He is just numb. You seem. Only you. The room fell silent. Then the next clip, a close-up of Bryna kissing her neck on the rooftop bar, her hand on his chest, her voice saying, "Let them believe what they want. He will never find out." Miranda stumbled back from the mic. No, turn it off, this is not. But it kept playing. A news anchor whispered, "Is this live?" Camera zoomed in. Phones lifted. People started recording. In the back, Brenner turned and walked out fast. A woman screamed, "That's him. That is Brenner Maddox." Miranda's cheeks drained of color. Who did this? Travis sat still, emotionless, watching her unravel. The final frame froze on the screen. Miranda Cole, realtor, wife, liar. Silence choked the room. The host awkwardly reached for the mic. We apologize for technical difficulties. Miranda was already gone, heels echoing down the hallway as she fled out the back door. But the damage, it was already done. Sponsors pulled out by morning. Clients canceled. She was trending on every platform by sunrise. Double life queen. Candalco. Brenner exposed. Travis never said a word. He just watched. The truth had finally spoken for him. By the next morning, Miranda's career was in freefall. Her inbox was a battlefield, sponsors pulling out, clients demanding answers. Her brokerage freezing her listings until the matter is reviewed. Her phone buzzed with news alerts and tabloid headlines. Local realtor exposed in public infidelity scandal. Motivational speaker Brenner Maddox involved in secret affair. Family manot anymore. Her face was everywhere. Not smiling this time, but crying, running, collapsing off a stage. She sat at the kitchen. Table, eyes hollow, phone face down, makeup smeared from the night before, her voice from screaming. Travis walked in, dressed in a plain grey tee and jeans. Calm, steady. She looked up like she saw a ghost. You did this to me, she hissed. He said nothing, just poured coffee, sat across from her. You humiliated me in front of everyone, she continued, voice shaking. I told you, he said, staring straight through her. You were free to go. She slammed a palm on the table. Not like that, not like this. He leaned in. You chose the lie. I just chose to stop protecting it. Her mouth opened, then closed. Do you know what people are saying about me? She whispered. They are calling me names. I am a joke now. Travis nodded slowly because the mask is off and people do not like being lied to. She stood up. I will fix this. I have PR contacts. I will spin it. He tilted his head. You really think this is fixable? Her silence was answer enough. Then her phone. Bust. Runner Maddox can't talk. Wife kicked me out. Staying low. Do not contact. Her hand dropped. Travis watched her crumble. The empire she built based on image manipulation and silence was now on fire. And he had lit a match with a single file. By midweek, national outlets picked up their story. Morning shows, gossip podcasts, even talk radio. They dissected every frame of the footage. like it was a crime scene. The fall of Miranda Cole, motivational speaker caught in double life scandal. Another fake power couple. Another real disaster. Internet detectives found Briner's old tweets about faith and family and plastered them beside the affair footage. Miranda's former clients demanded refunds. Briner's sponsors vanished. His YouTube channel was flooded with dislikes and furious comments. But Miranda, she tried to fight. She posted a statement. Like many women, I lost myself in a marriage that left me emotionally invisible. What I did was wrong, but it came from deep hurt. I was not seen. I was not loved. The post was scripted, polished, and instantly torn apart. Because hours later, another video leaked. Her and Brenner in the hotel room laughing, toasting, calling Travis a robot in uniform. The world was no longer just angry, they were disgusted. And Travis, he never replied. He sat in his garage organizing files into folders, locking away the hard drives. Like metals. Everything he had recorded was now archived. Xander called. You see the news? Yeah, Travis said. She is still spinning it. Well, if she keeps lying, we still have fuel. You did not even release the tax stuff yet. Travis stayed silent for a moment. She's already drowning, he said. No need to push her under. But he meant something else. He had more than footage. He had discovered something darker. And if she kept lying, the next move would not be about shame. It would be about justice. The storm outside was brutal that night. Wind battering the windows, rain pouring like glass shattering on the roof. Miranda sat in the living room with a glass of wine, shaking hands and bloodshot eyes. She had not left the house in 3 days. Her inbox was full of demands and apologies. Half the city hated her. The other half pretended they did not. She heard Travis come in through the back door. She did not look at him. I lost everything, she muttered. Everything. He dropped his bag on the floor and sat across from her. Quiet, I was not trying to hurt you, she said, voice cracking. You were just gone all the time. You were cold. You would come back and stare through me. Travis nodded once, not agreeing, just letting her speak. I tried to be patient. I really did, but Brenner made me feel a stop, Travis said, voice low. She blinked. What? You're not going to justify it, he said. Not with loneliness. Not with attention. You lied. You betrayed. That is it. She set her glass down hard. You were gone for months. I was fighting for this country. You were fighting ghosts, Travis. You never came back the same. He stood slowly. I came back alive. You made sure I came back alone. She started crying again. Real this time. No makeup, no camera. I was scared, she said. Scared of being nothing. Travis stared at her, then spoke quietly. You were never nothing, but you chose to become something else. He walked away up the stairs. Behind him, her sobs filled the silence. But Travis was already done listening. He had heard everything he needed. Now it was time to move toward the final phase, and Miranda was not ready for what was still coming. The next morning, Travis drove 40 miles out of town to a location no one had eyes on, a forgotten shed in the woods behind an old SEAL buddy's property. Inside was his stored recon gear, untouched since the military cleared his unit from active deployment. He opened a metal crate, a custom burner laptop, 3 encrypted phones, satellite tether device, old-school surveillance tech, the kind used for missions where failure was not an option. He powered one of the burners and pulled up the data dump from Miranda's cloud. She had no idea Shiva synced her business and personal files to the same cloud login. Travis opened a document folder labeled Private Docs, Do Not Share. Inside were receipts, emails, one folder labeled Side Deals. He scrolled. There it was. Property transfers under a fake name. Wire transactions routed through small shell companies. And one name kept popping up. Burnermatics Holdings LLC. His eyes narrowed. Travis spent the next 2 days mapping every connection. He built charts, timelines, labeled faces like a profiler chasing a serial pattern. And in many ways, this was just that, a series of moral crimes, calculated, repeated. He watched every Briner video again. Smiling sermons about honesty, tears about his wife's unshakable faith, talks on discipline and loyalty. But Travis had the files now. Bank statements showing joint offshore transactions between Briner and Miranda. Signatures on 2 ghost properties, bought under LLCs. One property, strangely, was co-signed by anime that did not exist, William Carter. That was the alias Briner had used in the hotel registry. It all lined up. A house of lies built on forged paper and fake promises. He dropped it all into an encrypted folder. Label exposure final. Now it was time to choose the moment and the weapon. He called Xander again. You need a tech contact. Someone who can intercept the live feed for what? There's an event. Awards gala. Miranda is being honored again. Xander whistled. Bold. She wanted to be seen. Let us make sure they all see her. Xander sent him a burner contact. Travis reached out with own message. Need you to replace a feed. Drop in a video package. No trace. High profile. The answer came back within an hour. Done. Just send the content. Travis smiled faintly. Miranda thought the worst was over. She had no idea what was about to hit her next, because the same public she played so well was about to become her final audience. The ballroom at the Harblight Hotel was lit like a movie set. Soft golds, navy blues, everything glowing under spotlights. Tables packed with realtors, entrepreneurs, influencers. Wine flowed, laughter echoed, and Miranda stood at the center of it all. Red dress, diamond necklace, flawless makeup. She had revealed fast, cried once, then rebranded harder. Played the victim online. Told just enough truth to sound brave. Theawood, Women in Business Leadership Honor, presented by Horizon Bank, one of Brainer's former sponsors. Apparently, Noon had done a background check since the scandal had cooled. Miranda stepped up to the mic. The crowd clapped, cameras rolled, live feed streaming to social media. Travis stood outside in the rain, hood up, earbud in, watching the stream from his phone. She smiled into the lights. I want to thank everyone who stood with me this year, she began. I went through something public, something painful, but I stand here not as a victim, but as a survivor. Cheers. Soft piano music in the background. I learned that integrity is not about never failing. It is about owning your truth. That is what leadership looks like. That was his cue. Travis tapped play on the app. Inside, the ballroom screen flickered, then glitched, then cut the video. Miranda and Briner. Hotel. Laughter. Kiss. Room 214. Split screen. Tax forms. Shell companies. Email threats. Her voice recorded. We can launder it through the third buyer. Nobody. Checks LLCs that small. The room fell silent. Gasps. One woman dropped her wine glass. Miranda froze mid-sentence. The light still on her, the truth still rolling, and Travis outside said just 3 words to himself. Now it begins. Miranda stood frozen beneath the spotlight, her mouth slightly open as the footage continued to play behind her. Her own voice echoed through. The speakers, bold, confident criminal. On screen, it will move clean through the holding company. Horizon will never know. The crowd was still then a ripple of reaction. One woman gasped. A man in a blazer muttered, Jesus Christ. Phones came out. Cameras pointed. Someone was already live streaming the chaos. The event coordinator tried to cut the feed, but it was too late. The room had already seen it. The internet had already taken it. Miranda stumbled back from the podium whispering, cut it off. Turn it off. No one moved. A reporter near the front stood up. Miranda, is that your voice on those recordings? Miranda's face. Broke. That video is fake. It is edited. This is a setup, but the file was timestamped. Raw. Undeniable. Her image, her empire, cracked on stage like glass under pressure. Travis watched it all from a nearby rooftop in the rain, earbuds still in but still up. He saw her expression, the moment. Her mask finally slipped in public, no one could unsee it, and she knew it. She ran off stage. Behind her, the room erupted in noise, not applause, not cheers, questions, cameras, accusations. The kind of storm she had no filter to hide from anymore. Travis walked away. Deceit lights behind him. Calm. It was only phase 3, and he still had more to release. The morning after the gala, Travis's inbox was full. News alerts, Reddit threads, YouTube clips. Miranda Cole's scandal was trending across platforms. TikTok edits of the reveal video were everywhere. People compared her to politicians, cult leaders, scam artists. Sponsors sent out public statements. Horizon Bank effective immediately. All association with Miss Cole has been terminated. Her brokerage issued a press release. We are launching a full internal investigation into Miss Cole's financial activities. Travis turned off the screen and poured coffee like it was any other morning. But it was not. This was fallout, and it was only just beginning. His phone buzzed. Xander just got word her accounts are being audited. IRS picked up the trail fast, and Travis Briner is panicking. Travis smiled faintly. Good. Think he will flip eventually? He hung up, then checked the drive. Everything was still in place. Copies secured in 3 physical locations and 2 off-site backups. Miranda was quiet now. No posts, no statements, no interviews. She was hiding. And Brenner, he posted a shaky video on his personal blog. Eyes bloodshot, face pale. I just want to say, I made mistakes. Things got complicated. I was manipulated. The comments were brutal. Travis did not respond. He simply archived the video. More proof of the lie folding in on itself. By nightfall, he had one more update. Xander texted, "Feds are circling. Looks like someone inside filed a complaint." Travis stared at the message. She was no longer fighting him. Now she was fighting something bigger. And the ground under her feet, it was vanishing fast. By the end of the week, a full media storm had taken hold. Miranda's face was on every platform, not as a mogul, but as a cautionary tale. Talk shows debated her downfall. Was it greed, pride, a toxic mix of ambition and secrecy? Even those who once supported her now distanced themselves. Her inner circle vanished. Business partners deleted photos. Friends blocked her account. She had become radioactive. Travis sat in the garage late one night, watching a podcast where 3 commentators dissected the scandal. She manipulated the system. One said straight up corruption. Another added she even played the victim card. It is classic sociopathic PR behavior. Travis said nothing, just watched. Then another segment aired. An interview with a woman named Charumatics, Brenner's wife. Tired eyes, nervous hands, but her voice strong. I stood by him. I believed in the image he sold. But behind the curtain, I found bank statements, secret messages, and silence where there should have been truth. The host leaned in. Are you filing for divorce? She nodded once. Already have. Travis leaned forward. This was not part of his plan. This was karma moving on its own, and it was not done. The final blow had not yet landed because Miranda was still clinging to Daniel. But soon she would be forced to face something even worse than public shame, legal judgment. And Travis had one more card left to play. It had been 5 days since the video bombshell. Travis spent most of those days offline, silent, letting the chaos unfold without interference. The damage was done, and for the first time in a long time he felt still. But karma has a longer reach than most people expect. On a rainy Thursday morning, he opened his mailbox. One white envelope stood out. No return address, just his name in clean centered type. He opened it. Summons petition for defamation filed. By Miranda Cole. His eyes narrowed. Inside was a second document, a personal affidavit. In it, Miranda claimed she was emotionally abused, manipulated, and surveilled by Travis. She accused him of being controlling, paranoid, and militarized in conflict behavior. She was alleging psychological warfare. Travis lowered the pages slowly. She was flipping the narrative. He placed the papers on the counter and walked outside. The rain soaked through his hoodie. He did not move. Not until his phone buzzed. It was Xander. You see the papers? Yes. She lawyered up. She is claiming the footage was deep-faked and that you stalked her. Travis let out a slow breath. She is panicking. No, Xander said. She's fighting dirty. Travis looked down at his hands. They were steady, not shaking, not surprised. I knew she might try this, he said. What now? Travis stepped back inside. Now the war was not public, it was legal. And in court, facts still win, especially when you have more than they think you do. Travis sat across from his attorney, Richard Lane, ex-military JAG, now private practice. Sharp mind, no fluff. She is alleging psychological control, Richard said, flipping through the paperwork. Claims you use military tactics to manipulate her. Travis stayed still, and most of it is emotional language, no forensic evidence. But there's the part that matters. She's trying to paint you as unstable. She wants to make me the villain. Exactly, she wants to invalidate everything before the feds can step in. Travis leaned forward. Can we counter? We already are, Richard said. We are filing a defamation defense with supporting evidence, surveillance timestamps, metadata, video hashes. We have proof that what you posted was real. Travis nodded once, and the fraud that stays sealed until charges are filed officially. Outside, the window. Traffic passed in a blur. Inside the room, time felt heavier, like the quiet before a breach. She is desperate, Richard continued. That makes her unpredictable. But if she tries to play victim in court, we will bury it in proof. Travis stood. Good. Let her speak. Let her lay under oath. Richard looked up. Just be ready. This might not be a clean fight. It never was. As Travis left the office, he felt the shift. This was no longer about hurt feelings or betrayal. This was battle on paper and strategy in the courtroom. And Travis had spent his life mastering tactical engagement. He was not going to lose to a woman trying to weaponize her. Shame, especially when he'd not fired the first shot. That night, Travis opened a drive he had not touched in weeks. Inside, emails Miranda had sent to a local developer dated 6 months before the affair went public. In them, she discussed partnering on-off market deals and sheltering cash flows discreetly. Travis had always assumed her affair with Briner was personal. Now he saw it was a business move too. Miranda was using their relationship as cover. She had built the entire affair into her real estate hustle using charm, connection, and access. And now she was trying to erase it all with the courtroom narrative. He opened a secure line to Xander. I need everything backed up court ready and send a packet to the feds. You sure? She crossed the line. A pause. All right, I will ghost it through a neutral drop. Travis pulled up a video. Miranda mocking his combat brain in a private message to Briner. He's all tactics and silence. I barely even believe he feels anything anymore. He watched the clip without emotion, then added it to a folder marked Character Profile Defendant Lies. The next morning, Travis sat at a downtown cafe waiting for someone. A woman in her early 40s approached Karamatix Brenner's no ex-wife. She sat down without a word. I did not think you would come, Travis said. She opened her purse, slid a flash drive across the table. I want to help, she said. They lied to both of us. He looked at the drive. What is it? Emails, call logs, notes he dictated for her court statement. You were right. They planned everything. Travis met her eyes. For the first time in weeks, he saw someone who understood the war. Thank you, he said quietly. And just like that, he had his next weapon. Because now the lies were not just hers. They were collaborated, signed, and documented. Monday morning arrived with sharp air and a sky smeared in dull gray. Travis stood in the hallway of the federal building, file in hand, a sealed packet of digital evidence signed off by Richard and Ghost submitted through Karamatix's statement. Across from him, a female agent appeared. Early 40s, sharp blazer, minimal. Expression. Agent Penner, she said, holding out a badge. We have been expecting you. They walked to a private conference room. Travis handed her the flash drive. Everything you need is on there, he said. Shell companies, email records, real estate fraud, coordinated laundering, and call transcripts. Penner plugged the drive in without hesitation. As the files opened, her eyes sharpened. You realize this involves at least 2 public figures and 4 different accounts linked to illicit activity. I do, Travis said. One of them is still pretending to be a victim, she raised an eyebrow. Nothing on here looks accidental, she muttered, scrolling. It was never about love, Travis added. It was business and cover. Penner sat back in her chair, nodding slowly. All right, Mr. Cole, this is strong. Really strong. But we will need to move fast. If they catch wind of this, accounts could vanish overnight. They already started erasing files last week, Travis said. But I had off-site backups. Penner gave a small smile. Smart man, he stood. I do not want credit. I want closure. You might get both, she replied. As he left the room, he felt it. Not relief, not pride, just stillness. The kind that came before a tactical strike. He had given them all the rope. Now they would decide how hard it would tighten. By Friday, whispers turned into noise. The internet had quieted slightly. A news scandal elsewhere distracted the masses. Put inside Brynomatic's world, the walls were crumbling faster than ever. Heisbank had frozen 2 personal accounts. His book deal was suspended. His Sacred Bond retreat was cancelled by the venue, citing concerns of ongoing investigation. Travis sat in his truck, parked outside a private law office downtown. He was not following. He was observing. Strategically, Brenner exited the building fast. His phone pressed hard against his ear, pacing beside his black Escalade. Travis had the window cracked. He could hear just enough. It told you we cleaned those records, Berner snapped. No, she was supposed to wipe it. What do you mean the emails were recovered? He turned, gripping the phone like it might break. Then silence. Travis watched the man's face fall, lips pressed into a hard line, jaw flexing. He knew that expression. That was what defeat looked like before it hit the bloodstream. Later that night, news leaked on a small legal blog. Sources confirm Bryna Maddox has hired federal defense counsel. The blog quoted an anonymous insider. There may be a cooperative deal offered if substantial testimony is provided. Travis read the post in silence. If Bryna flipped, Miranda would be exposed fully. Everything she buried under PR posts and lawyer-crafted lies would surface with timestamps and signatures. It was only a matter of time. She had built her empire on secrets. Now they were going to bury her under them. Miranda opened her front door with a practiced smile, the one she'd used for years to disarm clients and press. But the two federal agents on her doorstep were not buyers. They flashed badges. Miranda Cole, we have a few questions regarding your recent property activity. Her smile cracked. You thought I had already answered everything through my attorney. This is separate, Agent Penner said. New information came to light. We are reopening your file. Miranda's eyes darted behind them, searching for cameras, neighbors, any kind of cover. I do not have time right now. Penner did not move. Then we will do this formally. Subpoena is ready. Miranda's breath hitched. Wait, fine. Just come in. Inside, the agent scanned the room. Clean, stylish, sterile, no warmth left. Penner sat across from her. We believe you knowingly participated in laundering funds through property shells tied to Maddox's holdings. We have bank logs, emails, and internal conversations where you discuss strategy. That is not true, Miranda snapped. Penner placed a printed email on the table. Her own words, her own name. Miranda froze. You need to understand, Penner said calmly. You are not the only one talking now. Silence filled the room like cement. Miranda tried to blink it away. I was manipulated, she said. He told me it was clean. He told me, do not finish that sentence, the second agent warned. Not unless you want it used against you. Miranda's voice dropped to a whisper. What do you want? Your cooperation, Penner replied. And your truth. Miranda looked down at the email again. She had lost control, and for the first time in her life, the room felt like a cage. Travis was at home when the headline hit. Miranda Cole issues statement of remorse amid federal investigation. He clicked the link. It was a video pre-recorded. No press, no questions, just Miranda sitting alone wearing neutral tones, makeup lighter than usual. Her eyes retired, her voice low. I have made mistakes, she began. Some personal, some professional. I let myself be misled. I trusted people I should not have. Travis watched unmoved. I never intended to hurt anyone, especially not the man I once loved. But I take full accountability for my part and what happened. She paused, hands folded. I am cooperating with investigators. I want to make this right. It was careful, scripted, but behind her eyes was fear, not shame, not apology. She was playing survival, and Travis knew it. He opened a blank document, labeled it Final Package, Unreleased Proof. Inside, he placed the file he had never sent, an audio recording from 6 months ago, Miranda's voice. If this all goes wrong, I will just cry and say he scared me. That uniform always worked for sympathy. He had held it back until now. Now he was not sending it to the press. He was sending it to the FBI because this was not about revenge anymore. It was about finishing it. And he was almost there. Court documents leaked, not from Travis, not from Xander. This time, the leak came from inside the system. A whistleblower journalist who had been tracking high-profile fraud cases in the Southeast. The files spread like wildfire across legal blogs and news sites. Screenshots of Miranda's private emails. Audio of her financial planning with Brenna. Most damning of all, an official quote from the FBI confirming an open investigation into tax evasion, laundering, and coordinated wire fraud. Every lie she had tried to control cracked in half. Even her supporters online went silent. Some flipped. Some deleted their comments altogether. Travis sat in his garage watching the dominoes fall. The email thread sheet, once sent to Brenner, titled Clean Strategy Final Run, was now being dissected by legal analysts on YouTube. Her entire victim persona died that morning, and no apology video could resurrect it. Richard, his attorney, called him that afternoon. She is boxed in. He said federal case is forming. You want to keep pressing the release campaign? Travis shook his head. No. Let the system take her now. You sure? She stopped being my problem the moment she stepped into criminal territory. Now she's theirs. Richard paused. You did the right thing. Travis stared at the screen. I did the necessary thing, and that made all the difference. By midweek, another twist detonated across the news cycle. Briner Maddox missing, warrant issued. No contact in 48 hours. One article speculated he fled to Costa Rica. Another tracked a flight under a false name headed for Bali. His Instagram went dark. His YouTube channel shut down. The last trace of him was an airport camera still blurry, rushed with a cap pulled low over his eyes. Federal agencies issued an alert. Person of interest. In active investigation. Travis watched the coverage with a cold kind of satisfaction. Brenner had finally run out of stages to perform on. Even his wife, now ex-wife, released a formal statement. He ran because he knew what was coming. I hope he is found, and I hope the people he hurt get their justice. Karma did not always arrive with handcuffs. Sometimes it came in the form of complete erasure. Travis received one final anonymous tip through Xander. His crypto wallets were drained. He is on the move. Probably will never step foot in the US again. Travis replied with 2 words. Let him. Because ghosts could run, but they could not rebuild. And Brenner Maddox. He was done. A month passed. Autumn rolled in. The news cycle moved on, but the shadows of Miranda's scandal still lingered across blogs and business forums. Her name had become a cautionary tale used in talks about ethics, corporate risk, and image manipulation. One morning, a black envelope showed up at Travis's door. A formal invitation, distinguished service recognition gala, honoring community contributors. Same hotel, same event, where Miranda had once stood in the spotlight before her world fell apart. Travis stared at the card. He had no task for it, had not expected it, but someone had nominated him. He left the envelope on the counter and went outside. The sun was low, wind in the trees, quiet. Richard called that afternoon. You going to go? Travis took a breath. No, you should. You earned it. That is not the kind of stage I need. Richard laughed. Still the seal. Always tactical. I do not need to stand under lights to prove I survived. He hung up, and that was the truth. Justice had been served. The mission was done. No audience needed. No applause required. Late one evening, Travis found a plain envelope in his mailbox. No return address, handwritten. He opened it cautiously. Inside was a single page. The handwriting was rushed, tight. Ewan, I should have known you were never the man to underestimate. I lost everything. I am sorry. I do not expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know you were right about all of it, Miranda. He read it twice, then folded it once and walked to the fireplace. He tossed the letter into the flames, watched it curl and blacken until nothing was left but ash. Not out of hate, but because closure does not come from words. It comes from what happens when the fire burns out, and there is nothing left to hide behind. Travis stood there in the quiet, not smiling, not gloating, just finished. And that was enough. The cabin was quiet, not silent in the cold way his house used to be. This was true quiet, the kind that came from nature, not avoidance. Travis stood on the back deck with a mug of black coffee, steam rising into crisp morning air. Trees surrounded the small mountain property. No neighbors, no sounds but wind and birds. His phone sat face down inside. No buzzing, no headlines, no drama. He had disconnected everything after Miranda's case officially turned federal. She had accepted a plea deal. 3 years minimum fraud, false filings, obstruction. The news broke with barely a splash. People were tired of the scandal. They had moved on. But Travis, he was still here. And for the first time since everything started, he felt clear, not happy, not even healed, but free. He walked back inside, every step on the hardwood, feeling grounded, real. No masks, no performances. He spent his days training local rescue dogs and teaching wilderness survival classes to troubled teens. No cameras, no need for explanations. That life, the one she destroyed, he did not want it back. This was something new, something earned. The knock came late on a Tuesday. Travis opened the door cautiously, not expecting anyone. A woman stood outside, blonde hair pulled back, will coat tied around her. Mid-30s, nervous energy. I am Claire, she said. I work with the Frontline Honor Journal. We document real stories from veterans, not war stories, life stories. He raised an eyebrow. I do not do interviews. I know, but this was sent to me. She held up a flash drive. He took it. No label, just a black shell. He studied her. Who gave you this? She hesitated. Someone who wanted you to tell it yourself before someone else does. Why me? Because you did what most people talk about but never follow through on. You stood your ground quietly, strategically. And when you exposed the truth, you did not ask for fame. You just walked away. Travis said nothing. Claire looked down. If you ever decide to speak, my contact info is inside. She left the flash drive on the table and walked away. He stood at the door for a long moment before closing it slowly. Something in his gut shifted. He walked over to the table, picked up the flash drive, and wondered what was on it. That night, Travis plugged the flash drive into an offline laptop. It opened automatically. A single video file. He clicked play. It was footage from a deposition room. Charismatics, Bryna's ex-wife. Clear voice, full testimony. You want this on record. I helped Travis Cole because I was lied to for years. He saw him torn apart online while the real manipulators played innocent. I gave him what I had because what happened to him was not just personal, it was criminal. The camera zoomed slightly as she continued. There are too many men like Travis who stay silent, who let their reputations get destroyed because they think they have to take the high road. Well, this time the high road had teeth and it bit back. She looked straight at the lens. If you're watching this, Travis, I hope you know you are not the villain. You are the proof that not all silence is weakness. Sometimes silence is strategy. Travis stared at the screen long after the video ended. Not with pride, but with acknowledgement. Someone had seen the truth. And finally, someone said it out loud. Months later, Travis stood at the edge of the Atlantic, boots in the sand. Same spot where he had proposed to Miranda years ago. Back then, the tide had felt like promise. Now it just felt clean. The wind tugged at his jacket. Ghouls cut across the sky. He closed his eyes and listened. No words, no war, no weight, just water. He ached into his pocket and pulled out the last photo he had kept, the wedding day picture. He stared at it. No anger anymore, just acceptance. Then he let it go. The wind took it. The ocean swallowed it whole. He did not flinch because this was not a moment of regret. It was a final release. He turned and walked back toward his truck. No one waiting for him, no one watching. But this time he was not walking away from anything. He was walking toward peace. And peace, that was the real revenge. The first snow came early that year. Travis stood at the edge of the pine clearing, axe over his shoulder, stacking firewood with slow, deliberate movements. The rhythm calmed him. It always had control, focus, purpose. He had not heard Miranda's name in weeks. No headlines, no updates. She had faded into the background, just another fallen figure swallowed by her own lies. Travis did not gloat. He did not need to. Justice, when done right, speaks louder in silence. Then a million accusations shouted into the void. That night, he sat by the fire sipping black coffee. No alcohol, no meds, just warmth and peace. His hands, once calloused by war and betrayal, were still. No tremble, not twitch. And in that moment, for the first time in years, he felt something rare. Not pride, not victory, stillness, and that was enough. The mic clicked on. Travis sat at the edge of his workbench, speaking into a basic USB recorder. No podcast setup, no lights, just truth. He never planned to tell this story, he began. But if you are listening to this, it means you needed to hear it. He paused. This is not a story about heartbreak. It is not about infidelity. This is about clarity, about control, about what happens when you stop waiting for someone else to give you peace. He leaned forward. I was married to someone who looked like she loved me. But love without loyalty is just performance. And when you live inside someone else's lie long enough, you forget who you are. Another pause. But I remembered. He told the story simply. Not the scandal, not the press version, but the personal version. His experience, his choices, his silence. I never needed revenge. He said I needed reality. He ended their quoting with one line. No man is ever weak for staying calm. Sometimes silence is the loudest justice there is. He saved the file, labeled it Truth Biash Final Voice MPP3, and that was the last time he ever spoke on it. Travis did not attend the sentencing hearing. Miranda was formally charged and sentenced to 3.5 years federal time with months supervised release. Her lawyer tried to push for house arrest, but the court had already seen everything. The fraud, the forged records, the video of her mocking Travis's trauma like it was a punchline. The judge called it a carefully constructed betrayal for personal and financial gain. Public interest had died down by then, but justice was not about attention. Travis received a letter from the prosecutor. Mr. Cole, your cooperation helped. Establish a timeline we otherwise could not have proven. You did not just reveal the truth, you upheld it. He folded the letter once and filed it away. Not out of pride, but out of discipline. He did not need the world to clap. He just needed to know he did not let her define him. Nearly a year later, Travis returned to the beach. Same spot, new season. No photo this time, no ghosts. He stood barefoot in the sand, waves rushing in slow. His phone buzzed. A message from Karamatics. Hope you're doing well. I heard the journal ran your story. It deserved to be told. He typed back, thank you. Hope you're well too. Then he turned his phone off, tossed it into the passenger seat, and stood there just a man. No labels, no pain, chasing him. A man who had been broken, betrayed, and buried in lies, but who never lost himself. Travis Colehad walked through the fire, and he came out cleaner than the ones who lit it. The tide rose once more, and this time it carried nothing with it. The sun filtered through pine branches as Travis chopped the last of the firewood for winter. Each swing of the axe was clean, methodical, not rushed, not angry, just routine. That was what peace looked like now. When he returned inside, he saw the blinking notification on the cabin's old laptop. One new message, subject an open file from Xander. He clicked it. The message was simple. Found this in a deep drive backup from the early days. Thought you might want to see what they said about you back before the mask fell. Your call attached was a video. Travis hesitated for a long time before opening it. The screen flickered to life. Grainy cell footage of Miranda and Bryna in a hotel room, unaware they were being recorded by a third party during their early planning stages. Brenner poured wine. Miranda leaned back on the bed, laughing. I still do not think you will ever say a word, she said. Brenner nodded. Military types never do. Honor and silence. That is the shield. Miranda shrugged. Then we will just keep playing it safe. If it ever gets messy, he is the perfect scapegoat. Travis froze. She had not just betrayed him, she had designed it. Calculated hissance as her protection. Used his nature against him. He stared at the screen a moment longer, then deleted the file, without saving it. He did not need proof anymore. He had already won because the man she once thought was too silent to fight back had burned her kingdom to the ground without ever raising his voice. Another visit to the coast. But this time Travis was not alone. The wind rolled in gently and beside him stood a group of young men. All veterans from the trauma recovery program he had helped start 6 months ago. One of them, Jacob, looked out over the waves and said quietly, "Feels strange. I used to come here when I felt like I was about to fall apart." Travis nodded. "That is why it is the right place to start putting yourself back together." The guys were quiet for a moment. Then another spoke up. "You were the one they wrote that article about, right? The Navy SEAL whose wife tried to ruin him." Travis looked at him, calm, steady. "Yes. What happened to her?" Truth caught up. The answer landed heavy, but the conversation did not stay there. Travis guided them back to breathing techniques, grounding drills, and physical balance work. They laughed, they listened, they opened up. And slowly, without trying, they began to heal. Just like he did, he watched them walk the sand. Some barefoot, some quiet. All of them carrying something invisible. But not alone. Not anymore. As the tide came in, Travis stayed behind for a moment. Looked out at the horizon. No anger left. Nowhere to plan. Just an ocean full of silence. And this time, it sounded like peace. The cabin glowed orange in the late day sun. Inside, Travis sat at the table with a fresh cup of coffee and an old photo album. He flipped through pages of things that used to matter. Military ceremonies, wedding photos, smiles that were real once, or at least seemed like they were. He paused on a picture of himself in uniform. Miranda beside him, eye shining. Then he turned the page. The next section was blank. Empty pages, ready for something new. He closed the album and leaned back in his chair. Outside, a truck pulled up slowly. Karamatics stepped out holding a box. They had stayed in touch. Not romantically, not dramatically, but respectfully. Two people bound by scars left by the same fire. She walked in with a small smile. "Brought you something." She opened the box. Old photos, documents, and a leather notebook. This belonged to Brenner. He found it while cleaning out my storage. He wrote everything, notes, meetings, even predictions. Travis took the notebook gently. "Thank you. Felt like it should end with you." She sat for a while sipping coffee with him in silence. And in that moment, nothing needed to be said because justice had been served. The wreckage had cleared and both of them had walked out of the flames stronger than they ever expected. Their quarter clicked on. Travis sat alone at the table, a quiet storm. Behind his eyes, not of pain, but of memory. The fireplace cracked nearby. Wind tapped against the cabin window like it was listening. He placed the old notebook Kara had given him on the table. Brenner's notes. Inside were meetings, instructions, whispered, secrets written like a plan. But what struck Travis most was a single line circled in red near the end. Control the story and you control the outcome. That had been Brenner's philosophy, but it was wrong because truth always lives longer than a narrative. Travis turned on Therkorder. He spoke slowly, clearly. Noon ever expects the quiet ones to fight back. That is how they lose. He paused. When I was betrayed, I did not respond with rage. I responded with strategy. I let the liars speak and they hung themselves with their own words. Another pause. This is for anyone who has ever been broken, blamed, or buried by someone who thought their silence meant surrender. He leaned closer to the mic. You are not weak for being calm. You are dangerous. Because patience builds power. He stopped the recording, labeled the file the final word. Then he uploaded it not to go viral, not to trend, but to remind the world that truth, once spoken, can never be erased. Spring came early that year. The sky over Virginia Beach stretched wide and clean like a new page. Travis stood by the water, hands in his pockets, ice calm. His cabin stood behind him, no longer a hideaway, but a home, a real own. Miranda was gone now, out of the public eye. Serving. Her time. Brenner remained missing, a ghost with no audience left to clap for him. And Travis, he never needed revenge to look like punishment. Revenge was her silence, his peace. Justice was knowing he had taken everything they thought he could never touch. Their image, their control, their illusion. He stepped into the tide, boots sinking into wet sand. Behind him, life had started over. Not with noise, but with clarity. Kara still called sometimes. The veterans program was growing. The silence that once haunted him now healed others. He had become more than what she tried to destroy. He had become proof. Proof that strength is not in how loud you fight, but how long you endure before making your move. He looked up at the horizon. The sky was endless, and for the first time in years, so was his future. Before you go, let me ask you something straight, from the heart. Have you ever trusted someone so deeply only to realize they were the weapon aimed at your back? Because if you felt something while watching this story, if you saw yourself in Travis, or if you just believe that truth still matters in a world full of performance, then I want to hear from you in the comments. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country below. I read everyone. And hey, if this story made you feel something, like, subscribe and hit that bell. Not because I told you to, but because you never know which next thriller or revenge story might hit you even harder than this one. I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay sharp, stay solid, and always watch the quiet ones. Take care.